Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Orthopedic doctor gives Warriors fans bad news on Jonathan Kuminga. As if another losing streak isn't enough bad news to the Golden State Warriors fans, an orthopedic doctor has given them more reason to get worried about Jonathan Kuminga's injury. Dr. Nirav Pandya, a professor at the Orthopedic Surgery Department of the University of California, San Francisco, and director of sports medicine at Benioff Children's Hospital, said Kuminga could miss more than 3 weeks. Anytime you have a player who at the time of injury, the team's already saying, "Hey, this is a severe injury." It's a little bit more significant, Dr. Pandya said on Willard and Dib's show on 95.7 The Game on January 8. Even before you get an MRI, based on how he looks, you do get a little bit more concerned. And when you see this 3-week reevaluation timeline, it doesn't mean typically that he's going to be quote, unquote, playing in 3 weeks. It could be another 3 to 4 weeks afterward. So when you get these more moderate to severe sprains, you're looking at 6 weeks. Dr. Pandya noted that Kuminga's injury could have an impact on his performance when he returns, as he's the type of player who relies on his explosiveness. So if there's any potential that he was going to be moved at the trade deadline, it's hard to know how he's going to be playing because teams are going to wait to see what he's doing on the court, Dr. Pandya added. So you worry about how he's going to do. He's young, he's healthy. It's not a 3-month-long injury, but you do get a little bit concerned how this is going to potentially linger as the rest of the season goes. Despite the wide gap between Kuminga and the Warriors in their extension negotiation in the offseason, the fourth-year forward remains confident about his future in Golden State. "I feel good," Kuminga said, per The Athletic's Anthony Slater. "You never know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty confident this is where I'm at." That's because the Warriors are keen on keeping Kuminga, per The Athletic, despite the Miami Heat showing interest in him in a potential trade for their disgruntled star Jimmy Butler. According to Clutch Point's Brett Siegel, the Heat want Kuminga in any Warriors trade package to land Butler. The Warriors and Heat have held discussions with one another regarding Butler this season, league sources confirmed, Siegel reported on Friday, January 3. Although mutual interest between Butler and Golden State exists, Miami has made it clear that Jonathan Kuminga is a player they would want to be included in the framework of a potential deal for their superstar forward. Kuminga's lengthy absence has already taken its toll on the Warriors, who are at an inflection point with the trade deadline just less than a month away. Without Kuminga, they were blown out by 2 teams who were missing their top stars, 114-98 to the Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat on January 7 and 129-99 to the De'Aaron Fox-less Sacramento Kings on January 5, to move down to 10th place in the Western Conference with 18-18 record. Losing 6 of their last 21 games is rock bottom for the Warriors, whose 12-3 start seems like a distant past. "I honestly have no idea," Warriors star Stephen Curry told reporters when asked how the Warriors can fix their offensive woes. "We'll try to figure it out. But I don't have an answer right now." Curry is exasperated. He's turning 37 in March. With his championship window rapidly closing, will the Warriors relent on giving up Kuminga to give Curry a secondary star like Butler for one more title shot? Kerr dismisses youngsters near career night after dispiriting Warriors' performance. While the Golden State Warriors suffered a 114-98 loss to the Miami Heat on Tuesday night, the play of Tracy Jackson-Davis presented a bright spot that can be salvaged from another tough game for the team. Having come off a 129-99 loss against the Sacramento Kings on Sunday, the Warriors entered with a full day of rest as opposed to the Heat, who were on the second night of a back-to-back after losing in double overtime against the Kings on Monday. By all accounts, the Warriors should have been the higher-energy team, and yet they consistently failed to bypass the congestion of the Heat's 2-3 zone defense, settling for contested threes throughout the game. While the Heat allowed the Warriors to have these shots as a consequence of their defensive strategy, the Warriors failed to make them, resulting in their inability to build offensive momentum throughout the game. Golden State shot a horrendous 14 of 50 from three-point range, and aside from Stephen Curry, shot 29 of 76 on total field goal attempts. While they were able to return somewhat to their early season form defensively, they ultimately were not able to overcome a tough night from the field. They sorely missed Jonathan Kuminga, who was injured on Saturday against the Memphis Grizzlies. His ability to patiently feel out defenders and drive to the rim with momentum would have been a major boon to the stagnant Warrior offense. Nevertheless, Jackson Davis stood out against 3x All-Star Bam Adebayo. The 24-year-old's quality performance against the Heat signifies a culmination of the recent progress he has made in establishing his presence in the paint, showcasing his ability to grab offensive rebounds and score in various ways against opposing big men. Through a career-high 35 minutes on Tuesday, he posted a season-high 19 points along with 7 rebounds, 2 steals and a block. He was one of the only Warriors to play with full intensity throughout the game, showcased by this fast break dunk during the first half as seen above. Jackson Davis' emergence could not have come at a better time. As he approaches the midway point of his second year in the league, the Warriors need to be able to truly evaluate his skill set, especially given their positional needs and flexibility at the trade deadline. His recent move back into the starting lineup appears to be final as long as this iteration of the Golden State roster lasts, with Kuminga injured and seemingly slotted for a role off the bench upon his return. While he has played well in recent games, what separated his performance against the Heat was his physicality. He has been, frankly, physically outmatched in his recent matchups against Joel Embiid and Zach Edey. Tonight, however, against Adebayo and 7-footer Kel'el Ware, Jackson Davis stood his ground, punishing the Heat at the rim. Latest report on Zion Williamson to Golden State Warriors trade. The New Orleans Pelicans have not had an ideal 2024-25 campaign, winning just 7 of their first 38 games. While this is certainly viewed as a throwaway season in New Orleans, the franchise certainly should not look to waste too many years with their stars. The Pelicans built a strong core around Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, and off-season addition DeJounte Murray, and are likely to land a top 5 pick in the 2025 NBA Draft. New Orleans has created a solid foundation, but their 7-31 record would suggest otherwise. Young studs Trey Murphy III, Herb Jones, Brandon Boston, and Jordan Hawkins have also given the Pelicans hope for the future, raising the question of how quickly the franchise should go all in on their future. Williamson has been the biggest question mark around New Orleans, playing just 7 games so far this season, and has played 60-plus games twice through his first 5 years in the league. When healthy, Williamson has shown how dominant he can be, but the Pelicans have failed to capitalize on the 24-year-old star. The Pelicans could look toward a new era and trade their injury-prone star, with many potential suitors likely lining up their offers already. One team, in particular, could use a dominant force like Williamson but have reportedly taken themselves out of the potential sweepstakes. The Golden State Warriors are reportedly not monitoring Williamson's situation in New Orleans, and would likely look in a different direction if they make a move ahead of February's trade deadline, per Anscape's Mark J. Spears. I also did hear that Zion's not on the Warriors' radar, Spears said. Which, I know others might feel differently, but probably a good thing. Because with Zion, you just don't know what you're going to get and when he's going to be healthy, and his salary cap number's rather high as well. I just think the Warriors in the end will get someone in a very creative way. They actually have to. It is not crazy for Williamson to not be on the Warriors' radar, as they have other positional needs, but the 2-time NBA All-Star could realistically be a good fit with any potential suitor. The Warriors would have a few intriguing assets to throw at the Pelicans, but New Orleans would likely be better off not pairing Williamson with superstar Steph Curry anyway. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Zion Williamson? Leave your opinion in the comments.